All right, traders, welcome back to the channel. We covered these stocks previously. They had a really nice run up, and we have more news on them going into this week as well. Indexes look pretty strong and possibly getting somewhat of a bounce. We had a huge, massive sell-off across the board, and I do think a rebound is in the works. So it's going to depend if you start to get that rebound across the board, but I do think they look strong. So I think a DWAC, Phun, and some of these other plays look really good going into the week. Now, there was huge news as well covering with Donald Trump and these stocks as well. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to it.
I got no drip in my pocket.
Okay, so the big news, in my opinion, going into yesterday is that they confirmed the SPAC deal. And this is a lot different than most that you can see. I'll have this link down below so you can check this out for yourself. I think it's going to be pretty important going into the week in these stocks. So DWAC confirmed the $1 billion pipe deal with Trump's social media company, Trump Media and Technology Group. A good idea of looking at these is going to be CFVI, which is kind of what Trump was trying to use instead of Twitter, was Rumble. It's kind of like the conservative version of Twitter. They just kind of like to say anything, I think. I don't really use them, but Trump was trying them out, and they're kind of trying to do a deal with Trump. And if they actually do a distribution deal with Trump, that would be huge, and that would make DWAC go insane. So I do want to look at CFVI really quick just to show you guys how it moved this past week, right? You had crazy movement from when that SPAC deal was confirmed there, from $9.81 all the way to $14, came down, pumped back up to $12. And that is nothing to do with Trump. And they could possibly do a deal with him, but that's just, and this news with Trump is very new as well, so you need to know that. Now, here is where things get really important, right? So DWAC is the beast of its own. It's a SPAC that's at really high levels. When we mentioned them, when I made the video, you were sub $45. You had that crazy push at the end of the day, and you ended up running all the way up towards $55, $56. Now, what I did is, because it started running up immediately, I bought those warrants, DWAC W. This is how you buy the warrants, and I ended up selling those around $19 and $20. That's where I ended up getting out of mine, right? So I am looking to get more into this. It bounced at that monthly level, and looking back at DWAC, if you look at the chart, it gap filled that initial push, which I really am excited about as well. But I want to highlight something here. This is what people need to be discussing first, right? The $1 billion pipe deal. That's the big thing, right? And then they're trying to do another $3 billion in funding. This is unlike any other SPAC we've ever seen. Trump is bringing in so much hype into this stock, you might see this thing go absolutely crazy. Now, I don't want there to be a Lucid case where you had the Lucid merger or the news there when it turned into, it was from CCIV, ran up here, they ended up, diluting the stock quite a bit with how they funded it, and it went just tumbling back down. But Lucid's, back to where almost what it was worth back then. It has value as a company. But looking at DWAC, in my opinion, this thing is an absolute monster. I'm not saying you're running back to 160 tomorrow or anything like that, but the fact that you came back down, gap filled, and you're actually showing relative strength based on the economy and what we've seen over the past few days, this is a beast of its own. And I do believe this could be something that really sets a fire in social media with True Social and things like that. With True Social coming out in Q1 of 2022, early users, I believe, have access in the end of January or beginning of February. That's going to be big. And I do believe, if you look at Twitter, if you do not know with Twitter what they just announced, Jack Dorsey, I don't find it coincidental, he stepped down this week, and they announced a new CEO so he can totally focus on Twitter. I think Twitter is preparing for competition. I think Twitter knows that True Social is going to put up a big fight, and I think they know a lot of people are going to be leaving the platform for True Social. Now, I know as a nation, if you look, we think that no one likes Donald Trump, and I'm not a pro-Trump. I'm not getting political here at all. But based on the votes, it was a 50-50 vote between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. It was neck and neck, one of the closest races of all time. That shows how divided of a country that we are. And I think True Social, and I think Twitter is preparing for True Social to be a success. I don't think they make this type of move coincidentally the day that this pipe deal gets announced. It is not a coincidence, and no one is talking about it. So DWAC, I think they have massive room to run. I think they need to hold above this 40-41 region. All things considered, they have great room to run. Now, people were asking about PHUN. There are some other stocks as well that moved with this, but this is the only other one that I'd even consider. Now, if you were on the live stream Monday morning, I do believe when it was, or maybe it was Thursday. I think it was Thursday. Yeah, it was Thursday, right? We made we made a pretty nice chunk off of PHUN options. Now, the reason this came tumbling down was not because there was no hype, was not because there was no buying. The thing about this coming down is because inflation concerns, tapering concerns, things like that, mass concerns across the whole market, right? I think these still have room to run. Just be careful because right now the market is super, super, super on the edge and on the brink of possibly tipping over. But you are finding a bottom on the Nasdaq. I covered that in my last video. I think DWAC has tremendous room to run. I think shorts could absolutely get slaughtered here. If you look at the options chain as well, there's tons of options that could push this thing past 70, past 60 bucks in the coming days as well. All you need is a bounce on the market. Now, again, you need to understand the associated risk with some of these plays, but looking at how much DWAC is down, yeah, you had a huge gap up and came down. Let's look at another stock. Let's look at Apple, for instance. How much is Apple down with the news of the stock market as of late? You had highs and you came crashing down. DWAC did not even crash like that, guys. It had a push down, but there was no gaps. It was nothing crazy like that. And you're bouncing even better than some of these blue chips. Facebook, for instance, the metaverse is everywhere right now, but even they're bleeding more than DWAC at the moment. You need to take these into consideration. Twitter, like I said, their competition. Look at them. Even with some of their bullish news, they gapped up and immediately got slaughtered back down. These are things you got to be looking at. I think DWAC is going to be a beast in the market. I like where it's at based on the charts, everything like that. And guys, I'm going to keep coming back to this. This is the only SPAC deal that I've seen where they're raising this much money and trying to raise another $3 billion. Okay, that's absolutely just outrageous to even think about. This link will be down below so you can read it for yourself. But looking at this, and I hate using Seeking Alpha. I absolutely hate it. But this was just an easy way and it was just broken down super simple for everyone. This is nuts. And the reason they're raising all this money to $3 billion was based on the traction that it got when they announced it originally with Donald Trump, right? Once they announced that Donald Trump that was involved in this thing went absolutely crazy to 170. This just shows the power, and the influence of Donald Trump. And I'm just saying it, from a financial standpoint, you got to recognize the ways you can make money. We are not biased here on the channel. We want to make money any way possible when it comes to stocks. And I believe this will be a valuable play in the coming weeks as well. They are going to raise this money, in my opinion. And I think the writing is on the wall when you look at Twitter. The writing is look at all the news surrounding Twitter right now. Look at the major changes they're making to the company. Look at how they're trying to monetize everything now. They know what's coming. They know the head competition is here. And I think Twitter kind of screwed up as of, the past few years. They have not pushed and, tried to accelerate that company and the brand like they should have. And I think now they are kind of being pushed to do that point right now for DWAC is kind of stepping in. So I like DWAC a lot. I think it runs to 60, 70 bucks over the coming months if we can get some type of bounce. PHUN, this thing also most likely will run, so keep an eye on it. It's already back to those lows, though, in my opinion, so it's a little bit scary, a little scarier than DWAC, but you're going to want to see resistance at 330 and then also that move and get back above $4.20. That's going to be the beast. That's going to be the area it has to get above. If it gets above this, it probably runs to new highs. I'm just saying it's going to be there. There's shorts on this, and there's a lot of options on this chain as well, and they move very, very quickly, just so you know. If you have questions, please comment down below. I'm not going to try to waste you guys' time. I'm trying to make it short, sweet, to the point. And any questions, I will try to answer. The Discord link is down below. The Twitter is absolutely free, so make sure you are on Twitter because I'm leaving updates every single day as I get them, how I see the charts moving, stocks that I'm liking, and opportunities at play. Like, subscribe, do what you gotta do. Back tomorrow, and remember, we run the market.
Enough to go cop it. I'm about to take off like a rocket. Houston, we might have a problem, but that don't mean money will solve them. No, that don't mean money will